Barbados, get up.
Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
To you, I also say a terrific Tuesday morning. It is Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2025. I'm Pearson Bowen. Thank you so much for waking up and joining us this bright and early morning indeed. What a terrific day it shall be, and we hope the same for you as well. Thank you so much for following us on our Facebook page and our YouTube streams. We are grateful for your company, and also on our website, cbc.bb. Continue to interact there with us as well. As I always remind you, if you have an idea, if you know of someone or your story as well you'd like to tell, then send us an email. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. We're happy to hear from you and to feature you. After all, yours is a far more engaging story to tell than mine. So we're happy to have you indeed. Thank you so much for coming in and staying with us every morning. Coming up today, we'll be having our usual conversations on CARICOM. The CARICOM heads of government will open this week, and we want to know about preparations for that, how they're going. And we'll also this morning be sharing with you some excerpts from the Prime Minister's historic speech when she addressed the African Union recently. And boy, what a speech that has been. It's been termed almost like, I have a dream for the Africa. They've likened it to that great speech by Martin Luther King. Isn't that amazing? Our Prime Minister on the global stage. So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. There's a book called Adventures and Lessons with Man's Best Friend. We know who man's best friend is. And so that book and the author will join us on set a little later on. He'll come to with one of the people who inspired his writing of that book. So listen up for that opportunity as well. Starting this weekend is the Regional Women's Super 50 Cup, which is being played in St. Kitts. The Barbados Pride women's team has been named. The manager of communications and marketing with the BCA will join us. He'll tell us who's on that team and what we can expect. Really, what are our real expectations of clinching the title? We'll talk to Stephen Leslie in a little while here on Morning Barbados. Also, after 14 years of play, the women's windball cricket tournament. We used to play windball as children, and so there is a women's windball tournament on. After 40 years, it still does happen. And so there are a number of regional teams that are going to be in contest over the Easter weekend. We want to get some details. We'll also today meet two of the ladies who are from England who will be playing in the Barbados team. We can't wait to talk to them a little bit about that. Tony Alton, who we call the change maker, he is going to join us this morning as we get a further definition of what is emotional intelligence and why we need to have emotional intelligence even at this stage of our life. He'll talk to us in a little bit about that as well. And there's a musical exchange, a cultural exchange happening between Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago right now for Carnival. There's a contingent of Calypsonians who are there, and we will be connecting with them to find out what they're up to and how those exchanges are benefiting our expression through the art form of calypso and soca as well. So that is what you can expect today. Today is also the 18th of February. It's the birthday of Villy Scant. Villy Scant herself, Vilma Canterbury Bradshaw. Yep, she is an ardent viewer of this program, Morning Barbados. So to you, good morning, Villy. All the best to you today, coming from all of us here at Morning Barbados, to you and yours. We hope you have a lovely day. She called us yesterday on the show, by the way. And so, Villy, I know you're up. So good morning, happy birthday to you. Today is also the 20th anniversary. I told him I'll try to forget, but I can't. The 20th anniversary of 98.1, the number one party station on island. And so we'll be celebrating all day long today with the folks at 98.1, the one. What a cast indeed. And don't forget, they have that big party coming up on the 23rd of February at Copacabana, Playa Fiesta. It's an 18+ event, so no little ones allowed. But we want as many of you as possible to come join in the celebration on the weekend at Copacabana for Playa Fiesta, celebrating 98.11's 20th birthday celebration. Yesterday morning, I was on the corridor. I was looking for Derry Bowen, and she was exiting one room, and we almost ran into each other. And then she says, with a phone to her ear, "Is it true?" I said, what are you talking about, Derry? Jackie, what are you talking about, Derry? And then I said, hold on, let me check. And I started then checking around and nobody could talk to me. And the strangest thing happened. I called Jackie's number, which I have, and nobody answered. Jackie normally answers my calls. And then I became a little bit suspicious. So we got on the track and we wanted to find out whether or not that was true. Boy, it took me for 6 to hear that Jackie Marshall Clark, my friend, had died. And so I started searching for my mind all day long yesterday, all the memories, the moments, the conversations, the laughter, the exchanges, the everything about Jackie just swarmed me yesterday, almost overwhelmingly. And so I wanted to find something where we were together. We spent so many years hosting the Spirit of the Nation show. And I want you to take a look now at one of those recent exchanges that we had, because we can never forget Jackie Marshall Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 edition of the Spirit of the Nation show under the theme, Rebuilding Our Nation, Embracing Our Heritage. Different this year, but definitely on. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted our norm, and the tradition of partaking in friendly parish rivalry at the Garfield Sobers complex. And you know, just about now, we'd be asking for all the parish representatives to show their colors and all their support for the participants on stage. But be that as it may, this evening, we promise you, Barbados, an array of color, song, dance, and verse. Excellence and flair, as always, is the hallmark of this evening's national pride. And best of all, it comes from deep within our communities and our parishes. This evening, the parish ambassadors will showcase their public speaking and presentation skills. There will also be exquisite crafting and fashion designs by talented designers, informal wear segment from right here at home. And of course, then there's parish talent, which features the performing arts, and all vying for top awards at our Spirit of the Nation show. I'm Jackie Marshall Clark, and as always, working alongside Pearson Boyne.
Good evening, Jackie. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Spirit of the Nation show. It is a time where you sit to show your support of your parish ambassadors. We filmed that at the Frank Cullimore Hall. I remember we sat in the dressing room and we laughed and laughed and laughed. We had a good time, Jackie and I. And I remember one of those moments when, because we'd always discuss, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? What color are you choosing this year? Jackie came to the gymnasium and she came dressed, but she was not happy with her dress. Adzel Stewart, who would prepare us with makeup and so forth, he was in there. He says, "You have a scissors?" Jackie cut the hem of her dress. I stepped out of the room because that's between the two of you. And when Jackie joined me later on, Jackie was wearing the dress and a scarf made from the hem of her dress. Jackie was smiling. She was having fun. We had a way of communicating between ourselves as we presented as well. She would watch while I read, and as things were unfolding, she would just touch my hand to say, "Okay, slow down." You know, that's what we did. That's our cue to each other. Slow or go, that kind of thing. We had our own way of talking. Jackie always so relied on me to handle the presentations, which is, that's too much for me. I will let you deal with that. You just tell me what I need to do. We would share scripts. I would do the editing. She would just pick up. Just leave mine there for me. I will pick up because I trust you. She always used those words with me. And that made me feel quite honored to know that the person who I was going to say grew up listening to on radio, Jackie Marshall Clark, was not just working alongside myself, but she was trusting me to be able to help her be her best self as well. So we had quite a relationship. Yesterday the phone rang and rang. "Pearson, you okay? Pearson, you okay?" My answer always is yes, because the time spent will always be. And there's a song that goes, "Don't cry for me." And that line is in there. The time we shared will always be. So to you, the family of Jackie, Eric, and the children, we extend our deepest condolences here from the CBC. Indeed, condolences. Roosevelt Bacco joins me in extending those to the Marshall and Clark families. Deep breath. 10.5 minutes now after 6 o'clock. I'm sorry to start this way, Ambassador Covershaw. I hope it didn't bring you down, but good to have you. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Pearson. You know, it just speaks to the fragility of life, and as you reflect on Jackie Marshall Clark, it brought to mind another Marshall, Trevor Marshall,
Yes.
who passed last Wednesday. I had visited him at QEH just the week before, and I was asking him, Trevor, when are you going to be leaving the hospital? And I had actually gone back on Wednesday to see him, and only to discover he had passed maybe about half an hour before I got there, you know? So the fragility of life, but as you said, we have to remember all of the great things that these dearly departed gave to us and gave to our society.
Outstanding contributors to Barbados, you know, both Marshalls, Jackie and Trevor, and their story has to be told. I hope that we never ever forget these people. We never. Time tends to erode our memories, but I hope we never ever forget.
Well, the best way to remember is to, by our own efforts and work, to carry on the legacy, you know, and to help take it a step further.
See, I've now been commissioned to carry on the legacy, to take it a step further.
I have to carry on Trevor Marshall's legacy,
Yes,
you know, all the work he did in the field of history and activism, and I mean, we are going to be talking about Prime Minister Mottley's speech on the continent of Africa. Trevor was a pioneer in helping us to understand our African connections and our African roots.
All right, let's get down to business, or some say to brass tacks. Now, we have the meeting of the CARICOM heads this week coming up, and just before that, yes, tomorrow actually, as a matter of fact, the Ministers of Foreign Affairs are also going to be meeting. You've had some insight. Are we ready? How is it looking? How are we preparing?
Well, I'm wearing
your accreditation.
my accreditation badge, which I picked up last night at the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Center. LESC was a hive of activity last night, getting ready for the opening ceremony tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. and the dancers were going through their paces, the drummers and the brass players and the spoken word artists were there. So Barbados is going to be on display. The arts and culture of Barbados is going to be on display for that regional but international audience. I mean, as we said, from the Secretary General of the United Nations back down. And of course, tomorrow morning, even before the opening ceremony, we'll have the meeting of our foreign ministers, and that's in the morning. In the afternoon, the heads of government and other officials will have a session with Silicon Valley. They will be exploring the idea of establishing a Caribbean community, Silicon Valley. So we are looking at how can we get into the whole world of high tech. And then on the Thursday and Friday, we have the business sessions at the Wyndham. And an important thing, Pearson, because we spoke about the agenda last week, but we did not speak about Martinique signing on at this CARICOM Heads of Government Conference as our 7th associate member of CARICOM. And that's historic. You know, Martinique will be our first French-speaking associate member. So it's going to be a great 3 days, and we trust that this Heads of Government Summit will accomplish some very important progress for CARICOM.
Indeed, and so you will all see the opening ceremony here on CBC TV8, of course. We'll be updating you or reminding you of the time and the start thereof, but the CBC will be showing to you the opening ceremony. I think we should all sit around and watch, because as Ambassador said, it's a true expression of our best at culture and our expressions generally, and so we want you to witness that. Now, the Prime Minister, oh, what a busy moment she's having. We don't estimate all she's here for that. She's been attending other official bits. But she was in Addis Ababa last week, I think it was, where she delivered what some have termed to be the I Have a Dream speech for CARICOM and the African continent. And I think to be able to label it in such a way is a tremendous fillip for Barbados.
Yes, as you said, I don't know how she does it. I don't know how you, on Saturday morning, you're halfway around the world in Addis Ababa, making that brilliant speech. By Monday, you're back in Barbados, you're in Parliament, you're dealing with estimates, and then you're going to be chairing the CARICOM meeting starting tomorrow. So she's special. But yes, to have her address an African Union Heads of Government Summit in the headquarters of the AU, all 55 member states representing 1.4 billion people. And this year, the theme of the African Union is justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparations. And that theme ran right through her speech, because her speech was about our unity, the continent, the African descended people like us of the diaspora, the need for us to come together, and the need for us to come together to do two things. One aspect of the reparations is our outward demand for changes, for reform, for revamping of unjust and unequal or international order, for compensation for what is due to us. But then secondly, an inward look at self-repair of the things that we need to do for ourselves together. And I want us to look at 3 short segments of her speech. And you will see that running through all of those segments is that idea of unity, outward demands for justice and for transformation, but also inward demands,
repair.
inward efforts of working together.
All right, let's take a look at the first clip and then we'll talk right after.
Yes, I stand here as a daughter of Africa. I stand here equally as a proud Prime Minister of Barbados, a country which is the first landmass that you reach after you leave this great continent of Africa. A country which became a hub for the wrong reasons, but today I come to Ethiopia to share with you in the Africa Union that we can be a hub now for the right reasons between our two peoples. I stand here as the proud chairman of CARICOM, the Caribbean community, recognizing that as a member of the 6th region of Africa, we have come to reclaim our Atlantic destiny. We have come to ensure that the very futures of our people are different and will not once again be determined by a middleman who will ensure that the Middle Passage is one that sees our people at the bottom of the ocean's floor of the Atlantic or in the fields of the plantations of the Caribbean, but instead that it will be a future that sees our people, hears our people, feels our people, and that will determine in future that it is we who shall forge the manner in which we cooperate, integrate, and invest, rather than simply being victims of a past history. I stand here equally as the chair of the V20, 70 countries across the world that are climate vulnerable, 40% of whom come from this great continent of Africa, recognizing that it is only through unity that we can confront the existential crisis of our generation, that of the climate crisis. The Secretary General of the United Nations has already laid out, ably so, many of the iniquities that we continue to face in spite of political independence. It was His Majesty Haile Selassie who popularized and told us that there shall be no first-class or second-class citizens, words popularized by Bob Marley, learned by all of our people without appropriately recognizing the context in which he spoke and the mission which must be ours for generations until it is achieved. He told us that there would be war if there were first-class and second-class citizens. He told us that there would be war if the color of our skin was more significant than the color of our eyes. And we see here in the continent the continued descent into conflicts born out of ethnicity differences, born out of a mad grab for resources, not invariably for our own benefit, but for the benefit of others who seek to use our people as pawns in the determination of their own future. But we stand here as proud people, and we have enough among ourselves to know the difference between right and wrong, and to forge a future that is not for a few, but for the many.
I watched you, Ambassador. Your eyes were closed, absorbing. What did you take away?
Well, that message is so powerful. You know, she begins by stressing our unity, who we are. We are members of your sixth region, Africa. We have come to unite with you, and we have to work together. We have to change the world. But she also says we have to look within. Those ethnic conflicts that are often caused by outside powers divide and rule. We have to recognize our own humanity, and we must know right from wrong, and you know we must transcend those kinds of even internal differences, and we must respect the humanity of our own people. So it's a very powerful message, you know, about transforming the world order, but also about us recognizing the preciousness of all African people.
And a rallying call for unity through it all, because the color of our skin and the color of our eyes don't divide us, but they can actually bring us together. I want to play for you another extract, and I really want to hear your take from this one as well.
The reparations which we call for the international community to be able to recognize, first and foremost, with that which we ask from each of our children. Say sorry. Say sorry. And mean it. And after you say sorry, recognize that the future of the world is not possible without the stability of Africa and its diaspora. For as long as hypocrisy and double standards remain, it will be impossible to secure stability and peace in any nation across the earth. The reparations that we call for, beyond sorry, must be for fair access and development and compensation, because we each started the journey of independence with a chronic deficit. A deficit of resources, a deficit of fairness, a deficit of opportunity. And it is up to us, many of us in the second and third generation of independence, to be able to frame out fairly in a mature conversation what those reparations must look like if we are to attain justice and to inspire the young people of this world that good must always prevail over evil. But it is not only the reparations that we ask from the international community, because we ourselves must repair the damage that was foisted on us. The notion that transit visas, begging for them, must be the lot of our people in order to move across this world cannot be something that gives us satisfaction. To go east and to go west, we are first forced to go north. It is not right. And it is not beyond the heads of government and heads of state, of the region, of the Caribbean community, and of the continent of Africa, to determine that we must stop talking about, but simply do what is necessary to build the air bridges and sea bridges to guarantee that we control our destiny.
I'm one who, when I watch things, I look at the other players in the screen, and I saw the man who was sitting behind the Prime Minister. He was there nodding away in total agreement. Powerful again, and talking a lot about the exchanges, not just the call for reparations, but for me, I would not forget, say sorry and mean it.
Yes. Yes, well, this was the part of the speech where she really, she is the chair of the CARICOM Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on Reparations. Mm-hmm. She has lead responsibility for reparations. So this was the part of the speech where she really zeroed in on the reparations mission. And good, and she cast it in moral terms. Good must always prevail over evil. Yes, that past was a past of evil. Be willing to say sorry and mean it, and then to go on to deal with all of those structures of inequality and inequity that have their roots in that history that still exists today, that we have to change in order for good to prevail over evil, but in also to save the world, because that paradigm that the Europeans put in place during those centuries of enslavement and exploitation is actually taking the world to disaster. It is an unsustainable, exploitative paradigm that is producing climate change, global warming. It's producing great inequality and instability in the world. So she's calling all of us to a new vision, the vision that CARICOM started with when we established the reparations program in 2013, that the 21st century must be the century of reparative justice, where we take these old relationships built on exploitation and inequality and injustice, and we take them to a new level of brotherhood and working together, you know?
It was about a 30-minute speech, roughly, but all throughout it was dotted with some powerful takeaways. I have one more to share with you, if you don't mind. Let's take a look at this one, then we'll talk right after.
When I speak of the USA with affection, I do not only want to speak of that which is known in the Americas. I want to speak about that which ought to have been possible if the 1884 Berlin talks did not take place. The possibility of the United States of Africa, which is as diverse as India, which is as diverse as China in terms of ethnicity and language and religion, but which is entirely possible if we see not ourselves first, but we see the unity of ourselves together. This may be the cry of a naive and romantic daughter of Africa. But if that is the case, I prefer to die being a naive and romantic daughter of Africa than one who is cynical and one who is daunted by the actions and power of others. We know what it is to stand in unity with you to fight apartheid and to fight for the liberation of the peoples of Africa. For when President Castro stood to send people from his own country to southern Africa to free your people, it was in my own country that the planes refueled, ensuring that that battle was possible. And when 100 years ago, almost, a Barbadian man and woman left our nation and left the United States to come here, Arnold and Mignon Ford, he wrote the anthem and lyrics of the anthem of the United Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, and his wife dared to establish a co-educational school here in Ethiopia, ensuring that boys and girls could receive education in a time and at a time when war was dominating the global landscape. They chose to see light rather than darkness. I ask us today in tangible terms that will allow our people to travel, that will allow us to pool our investments to ensure that the people of Africa not be denied the electricity that is so necessary as a platform for participation in the new world. I ask us not only to pool that investment, but to also ensure that we pool our voices, because there is too much division in this world today. There is too much war and there is too much conflict.
Again, powerful expression. Your thoughts?
Well, that was the goosebump part of the speech for me, because she was referencing such critical aspects of Barbadian history. You know, the role that Barbados played in 1975 when the newly independent nation of Angola was under threat from racist South Africa, and the Cubans sent their troops and the planes refueled in Barbados. Between October to December 1975, Barbados was the critical refueling point to get those Cuban soldiers to Angola, and they got there just in time, Pearson, just in time to repel the South African-inspired assault on Maputo and to save Angola's independence. And that was the foundation for the liberation of the whole of Southern Africa, including ultimately the freedom of Nelson Mandela, the fall of apartheid. And then she goes on to cite two of my great Barbadian heroes.
Yes.
Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford and his wife Mignon Innes Ford. And that was a goosebump moment for me because I have written the only book about these two great heroes. And this is a story that the world needs to hear about these two Barbadians at the center of the Marcus Garvey movement. How many Barbadians know that the African liberation colors, red, black, and green, were the invention of a Bajan Pearson, of a Bajan, that the Marcus Garvey anthem, Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford, the Rastafari anthem, Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford, and then Mignon. Ethiopia would not be what it is today were it not for the pioneering educational efforts of this Bajan woman. So this was a powerful way to end her speech, to make real what we can achieve, when we come together and we work together, that nothing is beyond us. And she keeps stressing, she keeps putting it all in moral terms. It is about good over evil. It's just brilliant. And that speech and her presence in Ethiopia has now laid the foundation for an in-person, face-to-face CARICOM African Union Heads of Government Summit in Addis Ababa on the 7th of September this year. So good things. She has laid the foundation for many good and constructive things to come.
Ambassador Kabashaw, again, sat in rapt attention. Sometimes we listen to speeches and we don't quite absorb it, but when we break it down in the way we have this morning, I think we get it. Thank you so much, as always, for having with us that conversation on CARICOM once again. We look forward to seeing you next week, sir.
My pleasure, Pearson.
You're welcome. His Excellency David Kabashaw, Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM. We took a look this morning at the upcoming Heads of Government meeting and preparations therefore, and also excerpts from that outstanding speech delivered by our Prime Minister, Mia Amal Mottley, in Addis Ababa just last week. We're back after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
CBC TV8, the home of championships, will be bringing live coverage of Gold Cup, NAPSAT and BSAT in the month of March. Packages are available for sponsorship now. Contact your CBC sales representative today or call 467-5559.
An hour of inspiration, celebration, soulful praise, and uplifting messages that will refresh your soul and fill your heart with joy. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Quality 100.7 FM radio, bringing you closer to the music, the message, and the ministry. It's your Sunday moment of praise and purpose, where faith meets music.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning. morning to you.
24 minutes now to go to the hour of 7 o'clock as we turn our attention to a book written about man's best friend. It's a book called Adventures and Lessons with Man's Best Friend. And oftentimes we think of man's best friend and we want to run from man's best friend, especially if he looks absolutely menacing. Right there on your screen, you'll see the cover of this book written by Ras Simba, Paul Rock, in other words. And your daughter, Raven, is part of this story as well. So good morning, both of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
What inspired you to write this book? Ray and Ika's Canine Chronicles.
Again, good morning, Pearson, and good morning, Barbados. The inspiration of the book actually came from Raven's younger sister, Kaylee. So this is my stepdaughter. And Kaylee goes to school at Wesley Hall. I am a dog trainer by profession. And we have 5 dogs. And both of the girls love dogs, but Raven is the real dog lover. But Kaylee wanted, for some reason, she came home and she wanted to take one of our dogs, called Heart, a Presa Canaria, to school to do a demonstration. I guess he really wanted to show off with the little friends, you know. So we spotted a teacher and we took the dog down and we had a wonderful time, you know. And Raven, who is a real dog lover, saw it, you know, and said, well, I want to take my dog to school and do a demonstration because she's the one that she goes to training with me and she helps me, and, you know. And her mom, you know, was saying that would be a good idea, but it would be good if we had some sort of literature, you know, to make it educational. You know. The book was born.
And so the book was born. And so Raven, you're the real dog lover, Daddy says. And so talk to me a little bit about your love of dogs. What is it about dogs that you love so much?
Well, what I love about dogs most is that they put the same affection that you give to them, and they make me happy.
They make you happy and they will give you back that same affection. But you know, a lot of us, and I say that deliberately, a lot of us, look at a dog and get scared.
Yes.
So when that happens, why should we not be afraid of dogs?
Because people think that most dogs, for instance, big dogs, are usually bad. So they stay away. And as in the book says,
they're not that bad.
No.
They're not that. You just need to get to know them and they get to know you.
Yes.
And so this book is a book for children up until what, 15 or so, year 12, 15?
8 to 12.
You're right, 8 to 12. And so it's written in a very simple way, telling a story. And Raven, your story is the first story that's being told. It is 20 past 1. And it is my last class for the day. Mr. Jones is my math teacher. Normally, I would be paying full attention to what was being taught, but today, I'm anxious to get home because tomorrow is a big day for me and I have to prepare myself. So it makes very easy reading. You want to follow the story thereafter. Yeah. Why did you choose to write it like this as a story as opposed to an instruction book to say, okay, when you see the dog, don't pet the dog, whatever?
Well, there's instructions in the book, training instructions, but I thought, because as I said, we want to take into the schools and, you know, and I do a lot of writing, but normally articles, and also this is my first story. So I wanted to make it sort of captivating, you know, for a younger audience. Because I said her younger sister, Kaylee, is 8. She is 12. So I wanted to write something that, you know,
that covers both.
That covers both, I know. And like the average children, you know, they're into their games and, you know, locked onto the TV. So I wanted to have something that would be just as challenging for them. I wanted, if I may, to address a point that you'd asked Raven just now about the fear. There's a part in the book, I think that's what she was going to get at just now, that speaks about the innate fear that we, as African-descended people, have of the canine. Raven will tell you that when we have big dogs, what we call protection dogs, guardian dogs, you know, dogs that are over 100 pounds, you know,
all
big,
right. Human
dogs.
beings here now.
Yeah. Raven and I, you know, the rest of the family would take the dogs walking. We walk all over, you know. And one of our favorite places to go is the beach, you know. When our people, African descended people, when we see them, we are treated like Moses. You know, they part, like we part in the Red Sea, you know.
Yes.
On the other hand, you know, Caucasian people, when they see us coming, they'll be like, oh, such a beautiful dog, and they advance towards us.
So why is that difference?
We have a history, and we spoke about just now. I was listening to you speaking to Mr. Kamajang, yeah, about repair and self-repair. Now, if people know me outside of the book which we're here to speak about, they know that I'm an avid advocate within the sphere of not only reparations but repatriation. And I've held a panel discussion called Enough is Enough, with the focus on self-repair, which you spoke about just now. One of the areas of self-repair is addressing the residual trauma from our colonial days and our slave experience.
Okay.
The slave experience would not have been possible to control with two elements: religion and the dog. The dog on the plantation was the key to the control. So if you do your history on the role of the dogs, Spanish dogs in particular, that were brought to the islands, Barbados, Jamaica, you know, and the horrific experience told by our ancestors, there is a relationship that needs to be repaired between ourselves and the dogs.
But it's a learnt behavior.
It is a learnt behavior.
This book helps us to unlearn that behavior, to learn
the reason for the book.
a different kind of behavior.
It has, as you say, I have on my shirt, I'm part of a new organization, a canine organization called the Barbados Positive Canine Society. And our mandate is to try and, a little cool, that's why you hear me talking like this, is to sort of evolve the canine culture in Barbados. Now, I've lived in Toronto for 7 years, and people who have traveled in the big cities know that there's a different relationship in those societies between the dogs and the people. You see dogs on the bus, you see dogs in schools, you see dogs in the malls. All dogs are all over. And then there is the working relationship. We see CNI dogs for blind people, therapy dogs in the hospital with children, you know. Dogs playing all sorts of roles. We even have cancer detecting dogs now, you know. So we are saying that we need to bring our society up. And there is in the States, in the bigger countries, I don't know if you would know, you know, younger children are given projects in terms of building their sensitivity and nurturing natures. You know, some of them will be given an egg to take home, you know, or sometimes a little puppy or
a little baby, a doll that teaches them. I get all of that. And so this book helps the younger children to be able to understand the dog and not fear the dog in the same way. But, you know, again, like learned behavior, children naturally go to those pets without fear. We teach them to be fearful. And so this book reinforces the positives about the animal, the canine in particular, man's best friend. And so the illustrations in the book, I see the pictures, are these is this hand painted, or are these the pictures that you've taken and adjusted?
No, these are what you call AI generated photo illustrations. So what we did was we went and we had a photo shoot. A professional photographer came in. Shea Earl, Amatolia bulldogs. And he did the photo shoot, and then we put them to a special app that transformed them into a semi.
So, you know, different. It's really nice.
So they seem sort of, you know, real, but when you look at it, it's a sort of cartoony.
Yes, I realize.
Because
so, Raven, how does it feel to see yourself in the pages of this book, to know that there's a book that showcases you and your love of the dog?
Well, for me, it makes me feel, well, of course, happy.
Yes.
And it makes me feel good about myself. and makes me feel special.
And truly you are special indeed. And so it's a book with a few chapters. It talks about Raven, All I Can Be is another chapter, structure, preparation, on the way. It teaches you about the Barbados Trailway, shaping and sit, down and stay, 2 kilometers. All of these things, the different instructions and the relationship you can have with your dog are all detailed in the book. It's very easy to read. It's written like a story, so you absorb it very, very quickly, and it's easy to read for those 8 to 12 years old. Where can we get copies of the book?
Well, the book has actually I only just picked up these from the printers yesterday.
So I called the first copy.
Yeah, but I want to make the point that it is part, remember I just spoke about the organization, the Barbados Positive Canine Society, BPCS. The book is part of a fundraising business initiative by the society. You know, it's a collaboration between my family's business, which is Loyalty Canine Services, dog training services, and the society, where each book is sold. You know, the revenue is shared between both.
So, where can we get it?
Well, right now, you can get it from the members of the
two societies.
The society, and through myself. And they will be hopefully in all the pet shops and the major bookstores, you know.
Yes.
But right now, you can call 268-7084.
268-7084.
And you can order the book, or you can look for us on Instagram and on Facebook.
Right.
This is the Barbados Positive Canine Society. And a lot of Barbadians know me as a contact.
Exactly, we know you. This is the beginning of a series, folks. It's called Ray and Ika's Canine Chronicles, and the chronicle has only just begun. Adventures and Lessons with Man's Best Friend on the Trail, written by Paul Rassimbarock, featuring his stepdaughter Raven and all of the family as well, but featuring man's best friend, the dog. It is nothing to be afraid of. All proceeds go towards our society to continue education and to care of man's best friend. So I want to thank you so very much. Wish you the best with this effort as well. I hope you raise a lot of funds. And Raven, I'm sure your friends at school are watching and thinking, look at Raven, look at Raven. Raven is in the book. So please talk to them about the book as well and get them to support you on this.
We'll be going to Leicester one soon, hopefully. We've made the reach out to the principal, so we're just waiting for the reply, and hopefully this will help as well.
Hopefully.
And she and Ikas will be there.
All right, thank you so much. Mornin Barbados comes back right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why?
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us a
morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We have 10 minutes now to go to the hour of 7 o'clock. I'm happy to be joined by my friend Stephen Leslie, who is the Manager of Marketing and Communications with the Barbados Cricket Association. And there's so much cricket on. And as you know, here at the CBC, the home of the championships on CBC TV8, we bring the cricket to you as best we possibly can. Thanks to Stephen and all of his efforts as well. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning, person. You look very bright and bubbly. I was just asking you how you do it, but it's just how it goes in the morning, I believe.
Yeah, and I told him, no, I don't do coffee. I have tea for sure.
Yeah.
And then you do the show, and then you go to sleep.
Well, I'm going to take that advice, but again, it's wonderful to be with you.
You too, my friend. And so, okay, a lot of cricket on. We've had the Barbados Pride, the regional 4-day championship on, which we won. That game we finished in 3 days rather than the 4 days as well. So there's a lot happening in Barbados cricket, and there's a lot happening with a team called the Pride, Barbados Pride as well. I know we're getting ready now for the women's tournament, which is going to be playing in my favorite island, the Caribbean, St. Kitts. Are you looking forward to this?
Definitely. Women, Barbados Pride women, they are really looking forward to continuing their reach legacy. They've been doing very well in the last maybe 3 to 4 years at the women's regional level. So these ladies have been in training now for the better part of about 3 months.
Right.
And the tournament is coming up very shortly in St. Kitts, and the team really is looking forward just to dominating, because this particular version of the game, which is the 50 over game, the ladies are very well prepared and they should do exceptionally well.
I'm telling you, I mean, when you think West Indies, women West Indies, Barbados is in there. So we have the technique to raise and hone some great skills in women's cricket as well. This team is going off to St. Kitts shortly. No doubt they're in training and the like. Who's on the team, and who are the coaches working with these ladies to get them ready for the winners patch?
Yeah, this team is going to be led by Aliyah Aline. She's currently one of the West Indies limited overs players. Trishan Holt will be vice captain. Alicia Bowman, Shanika Bruce, Asabi Calendar, Shamila Connell, Nijani Kamabach, Erin Dean, Killia Elliott, Alison Gordon, Tiani Herbert Mears, Kaisia Knight, her sister Kaishana Knight, and it will be concluded with Alyssa Scantbury. The head coach is good old Roderick Eswick, Big Roddy Eswick, assistant coach Robin Paris. We've got manager in Miss Danielle Small, and the physiotherapist is Miss Janelle Lewis. Now, what's unique about this squad is that about 7 or 8 of these ladies have already represented the West Indies.
Yes.
And they have been exposed to international cricket against some of the real challenging international opposition. And back maybe 2 years ago, there was the Commonwealth Games where this team, a number of members from this team actually defeated the Pakistan team in the initial game. And this really brings a lot of experience to this group. And there are a number of young ladies who came up from the under-19 level, and they are actually at senior level. So it's a blend of youth and experience. And one of the beautiful things about this team, we expect them to do well. They're confident, and it's hopefully going to be a great time in St. Kitts in the next couple of weeks.
And so getting ready. How have they been getting ready for this tournament?
Well, I'll say this about the women in Barbados cricket. They've been given an advantage maybe about 5 years ago. They play against the men, Pearson. On Saturdays, there is a second division league that we have. So between, let's say, April and December, these ladies are playing against the men. Sometimes men claim that they're going to make it easier for them, but I mean, you have the likes of Haley Matthews and a number of these other ladies that I called just now who play against them. And when Haley's in Barbados, she then represents Pickwick. But this advantage of playing against men on a regular basis is one thing, but then they're in a really organized structure. Brody Esther being the head coach this year, we have them working at Kensington Oval. Sometimes they work at the Rubis Sports Club, which is there on the Mighty Griner Highway. That's really their home. So when these ladies are training, they're exposed to the science, they're exposed to a lot of repetition. And one of the great things about them is that they enjoy the game. They don't just enjoy playing against the men, but when they're playing against their fellow ladies, they show themselves as really being dominant. And that's one of the beautiful things about the preparation for this group. Exposure.
You use that word just now, I like that word, because we expose the men's teams. We got to work, Stephen, on making sure we provide a platform for the women's performance also to be seen. Well,
one of the things the Barbados Cricket Association has done is that we've got retainer contracts for the men, and we've expanded that for the women. So this year there are about 7 ladies who've got 12-month monthly stipends that are given to them. They have their regime, their outlook, and they have to follow it. So we do agree with exposure, but one of the main things is that the ladies are really into the game, and there's an inspiration from a lot of them where they can see 7 of the ladies having retainer contracts, and they think the poster lady is Haley Matthews. Haley's West Indies captain. She's articulate. She plays well on the field of play. And then we've got the likes of Deandra Dotting. So we've got some really strong performers at the international level, and these ladies are really looking forward to be the next superstar for women's cricket.
And I'm telling you, there's real potential for them to be. I mean, they're really, really good. When does the tournament start, by the way?
Yes, this tournament is going to be held from the 22nd of February, which is a few days from now, until the 8th of March in your favorite island, St. Kitts. And one of the things is that when the ladies go into St. Kitts, they're going to be a quick turnover, probably in like 2 days' time. By the 24th, they should be playing their first game. But these ladies have a philosophy of being prepared before they get to the venue. So irrespective of what transpires, who once they land safely in St. Kitts, they'll be ready to go to represent Barbados.
Can we see it? Can we hear it? We want to be able to follow the team. I'm excited enough to want to follow their performance.
Well, Cricket West Indies has a policy of streaming all of the female and male games. So yes, we'll be able to catch it on the Cricket West Indies YouTube channel.
Right.
What we do at the Barbados Cricket Association is try to negotiate, as you're aware, to try to make it a lot more local as well. So at the moment, we can confirm that it will be on the CWY YouTube channel, but there are a few other things that we're working on and may be able to announce in very short order.
In other words, hold on to your hat. The announcements are coming soon. And again, this is all great work coming from the Barbados Cricket Association, putting cricket first and making sure that the national sport returns to the winning ways. And somehow there's a positive air that's blowing through West Indies and Barbados cricket right now, thanks to you and your team's effort as well to be able to bring it to us, indeed, to make us proud once again of our performances.
And again, with the cooperation of CBC, if you look at the men's cricket game, we had our first series in Providence Stadium in Guyana. This is the 4-day men's.
Yes.
And we came second, we lost that one. But the 2 games in Barbados, which were back-to-back, once against the West Indies Academy, we won that on the 4th day. We then defeated the Jamaicans on the 3rd day.
Bad.
And what was, we destroyed them. But what was great, Pearson, is the ability for the cricket also to have been seen on CBC TV and also heard on 94.7 FM. So these things always bring a total collaboration. You've got a lot of people who are really happy. They couldn't get out physically to see the game, but they were able to watch it at home or hear it on the radio. So it's all part of the effort to drive cricket, not just on the island, but to drive it right through the entire Caribbean.
And we're happy at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation to partner with you on this. As you know, it was an easy request. Yes, Stephen, let's formalize this, let's go. And for the same reasons that people can't always get to, but they can get to watch. And when they do, you rekindle that passion to come to the game, to follow the game, to be there celebrating with all the performances as well. And so that's what we want to partner with you on, to be able to heighten that spirit, to once again show that we are Barbadian and what that true Barbadian spirit is in our national sport of cricket. And so we're always ready to extend our hand to help. And so we're looking forward to this coming up in St. Kitts starting on the 22nd, and it's a very short tournament.
Yes, what happens is that obviously you've got 6 teams, so you've got basically teams playing every other day. So that's why the tournament is so short. And the great thing about that tournament is that a lot of these ladies are then being able to be selected for the West Indies team. So performances in this tournament are very crucial. And the ladies always look forward to really showcasing their talent. And the beauty about this female team is a lot of competitiveness, but it's also a lot of camaraderie.
Yes.
And I love the fact that they work well together. And I want to wish Roddy Eswick and the entire team all the very best.
They're in good hands, Stephen. They are in good hands, man. We're going to win this. Lord, don't let me boast, but we're going to win this thing. So all Kittitians watching, don't feel bad. It's just a fact. We're going to win this thing in St. Kitts indeed. And so I'm excited about the teams going to St. Kitts. When do they leave?
They leave on the 22nd.
On actual day?
And they fly into St. Kitts, and then, as I say, they'll settle on them within 2 days. By the 24th, they'll begin their first game.
All right, good. So they're leaving on the 22nd. And remember, if you can, go to the airport to wave them off and to wish them well. And when they come back with a cup, you come to the airport as well and congratulate them, because we can do this. I know we can. We have a really, really good, strong team of women who play West Indies cricket, who play local cricket, who are just actively involved in the game, who are very, very talented, and a management team that is already well known for cricket who will support them as they go as well. And so we're excited for the outcome of this tournament. Stephen, thanks, man. As you can tell, I'm ready.
Yes, you're ready. And I don't want to keep encouraging the women that come to watch these games for the men and also watch the ladies to continue bringing their kids, because once ladies are involved, it's going to be a family event, and that's what's important for the development of women's cricket.
That's so important indeed. Stephen Leslie, the manager of marketing and communications, the women's team getting ready for that big 50-over tournament in St. Kitts starting on the 22nd. They leave on the 22nd. They'll have their game on the 24th, the first game. But we are going to be watching every ball, listening to every ball. We are going to be a part of the winning ways of the Barbados Pride women's team in St. Kitts as they bring home that regional tournament. Thank you so much, Stephen, as always. All the best.
It's been a pleasure.
Always. Morning, Barbados. It's a break. We're coming back with the news in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get her. Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time for news now. In the news, mothers awaiting child maintenance payments and facing challenges with lengthy delays in receiving those monies from the court will get some relief. Attorney General Dale Marshall says government will soon be introducing an electronic payment system for child maintenance. He gave that update during the estimates debate.
What is key is that the method of disbursing the funding will not be what happens now, where a mother has to go to a court and collect cash, or where a father can only go and pay in cash and so on. We're going to be looking at a digital payment solution, and we've talked about this for a long time, but I'm very happy to say that we are at the point where we are in the pilot phase.
The Attorney General also reports that this financial year, work will start on renovating the Christchurch St. Matthias Court, which was closed to ongoing industrial issues.
That is going to run over a 2-year period. Financial year 2025-26 and 26-27, and the projected cost of that upgrade is the sum of $5,398,000, and so we're looking to do that work there.
And Mr. Marshall is also announcing that the responsibility of registering births and deaths will be moved from the High Court Registry to the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, where it properly belongs.
It has long been considered by this administration that the best place for collecting information relating to births and deaths are the people who actually use it, the people who prepare the voters list, the people who have to work out whether or not a person should be getting an ID card at the age of 16. What happens now is that the information comes in and then we do something called a data dump. Now, this data dump used to take place it used to happen often in the earlier stages, but then it began to slip. So you would get a data dump every month. You would get a data dump every 3 months. So the electoral and boundaries would not know that a man or woman has died until sometimes many months after they have in fact passed on.
Construction is expected to boom in Barbados this year, and C.O. Williams is on a drive to hire those with the necessary skill sets. Rachel Agard reports.
One of the companies expected to increase its business this year is C.O. Williams Construction, and they hosted a job fair to ensure they have adequate numbers to meet the demand. From as early as 7 a.m., long lines formed at Sky Mall as people waited their turn for an interview. HR Officer Daniel Seeley says among the positions on offer is a bilingual interpreter. The company has one on staff already, but with the anticipated increase in projects, it's planning ahead.
We are a very diverse company. We have persons who currently work in the company who are not from Barbados and only speak Spanish. So we have a bilingual interpreter currently on property who translate for management and their colleagues, in terms of English to Spanish and Spanish to English. But when we bring more personnel over, depending on what the operations need, he may not be able to be everywhere, so we'll need more persons, more bilingual interpreters to assist him.
Group Assistant Manager for the HR department, Shamika Holder, says over 1,000 people turned up for the job fair. And she says those who are not hired will be kept on file for any future openings.
We have from the age of 18 and above, and persons that are not experienced, just looking for a job, and we're open to that as well. It shows that persons are, not staying home and they're out looking for it, to give them the opportunity. Wherever we can assist in that area, we would definitely will.
Meanwhile, Mackay Haynes, 22, says he attended the job fair in the hopes of getting off the block.
I want a job to tell you the honest to God too. I tired of being home on the streets. Again, I'm looking for things, yes, but then I ain't always getting through, so I can contact a job fair today to see if I get through.
26-year-old Jamali Murray says he wasn't aware of the job fair, but attended after being encouraged to do so. And he's hopeful he can contribute to the company's growth.
I didn't know that we had a job fair today till my sister told me about it and tell you they're going to see if you get through or something. And they will invoke me with only a sister that younger than me. Yep. Encouraged me to come here and get something so you get for yourself.
The outcome of this job fair and projects will determine if the company organizes any future recruitment drives. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Well, several initiatives will be rolled out by month end to reduce the wait time at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital's Accident and Emergency Department. That's according to consultant and head Dr. Anne-Marie Cruikshank.
We have the CAT scan suite that's opening, and that should be open between this week and next week. That CAT scan was donated to the hospital by the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we've never had a CAT scan in the A&E, so we're looking very much forward to having that. The X-ray department or the X-ray suite, we had it before, but it had to be on pause because of all the renovations, and we had to use the main radiology department. So we're hoping that that too is going to be open in the next few weeks. So it have both the CAT scan and the X-ray facilities, which will decrease the number of time for the patients to get their imaging.
Additionally, Dr. Cruikshank says they will also be embarking on a project with Bridenstone called the Metallize Project. She says it involves addressing a recent surge in heart attacks.
We have decided at the hospital that we're going to give this medication called Metallize, which is a clot buster, to certain urgent care facilities so that they can start treating heart attacks earlier in their facility before they come to the A&E. So obviously the doctors and nurses there would have to discuss the case with the cardiologist on call in the hospital to make sure that this is a heart attack that they're managing in terms of the history, the physical examination, and the investigations. Once that has been established and the cardiologist on call gives the okay, they can give this drug, which is a clot buster, to dissolve the clot that is blocking the arteries in the heart. Once the patient is stable, they can then be transferred to the A&E.
Corporate Barbados has been supportive of the island's newest Kadooment band, Dream Mass. Creative director of Dream Mass, Roy Permachand, says Cropover was missing something, and so they decided to deliver on that shortfall in value for money with a premium experience. He says while they'll be seeking to do a lot of their production locally, there will also be more international input. With 6 tantalizing sections and a target of 600 revelers, they are the first Kadooment band to launch this year.
So we found the need to fill that void and offer something a bit different. That is Dream Mass. We actually are still getting offers. We are still being contacted to be sponsors. A lot of I'll say corporate Barbados has been reaching out to us to join our team, So yes, challenges will be there because everybody's, going through budget cuts, etc. But, I think this time around for something new and exciting, we have had some positive feedback.
Meanwhile, one of the team members of Dream Mass, Richard Rollocks, says as much as possible, they will work with customers on pricing, and he's hopeful that they can expand past Cropover, reaching the international stage.
We're a new band coming out, and for new bands, at the same time, while you want to make a profit, our objective is obviously not to burst the band, right? And that's one of the reasons why we launched early as well, to afford individuals to have a payment plan, right? To give you enough time to pay for your costumes, probably by the end of May, because usually, the later launch is more difficult for someone who has, paycheck to paycheck to purchase it. So, this is one of the reasons as well as we decided to launch.
And that's our news until now. Morning Barbados takes a break. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
CBC TV8, the home of championships, will be bringing live coverage of Gold Cup, NAPSAT and BSAT in the month of March. Packages are available for sponsorship now. Contact your CBC sales representative today or call 467-5559.
An hour of inspiration, celebration, soulful praise, and uplifting messages that will refresh your soul and fill your heart with joy. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Quality 100.7 FM radio, bringing you closer to the music, the message, and the ministry. It's your Sunday moment of praise and purpose where faith meets music. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
12 and a half minutes now after 7 o'clock. On the Easter weekend, there will be the Regional Women's Windball Cricket Tournament on. It's in its 14th year, and joining me now here in the studio with me is Rodney Simpson. He is the coordinator of this tournament, and also joining us is Kristen Smith. She's a cricketer out of the UK. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning.
Good to have you. Rodney, let's talk about this. It's now 14 or so years you've been doing this. When we hear windball, we're thinking like a tennis ball, and that's the kind of cricket we're playing, right?
Tennis ball, yeah.
So how exciting is this really, this tournament?
It's very, very exciting. People in Barbados look forward for this tournament. Every Easter, we take a break. We take a break about for 10 years. And people keep asking about the tournament. Last year we played at a shorter version, the T6. And this year now we're going back to, we're playing two tournaments in one.
Right.
We're going to play the T6 and we're going to play the 12 over tournament.
Okay.
And
so T6 and T12?
T12, yeah.
We're playing.
Yeah.
Where are the teams coming from?
We have teams coming from St. Vincent, Antigua, Guyana, Trinidad, and West Barbados.
But there's some UK females who are playing too.
Apparently England was coming this year, and they could field a full team. And the two young ladies, Kristen and her sister Alicia, they decided that they're still coming, and they asked for a team to play for. So they'll be representing Barbados. I don't know if Barbados buying for 5-point-something million pounds. Barbados have not won this tournament since 2003. The last time Barbados won it was 2003. The first year player Barbados won it, Imptage Electrical of Barbados won it, and then Imptage Electrical and Passage Road shared. Since then, it was back in 2005, we canceled the tournament. 2006, it was 2004, it was Brooklyn United. 2006, it was Brooklyn United. 2007, 2008, Brooklyn United. And then Brooklyn took a break from the tournament, and United Survivors won it in 2009 from St. Vincent. Brooklyn came back, re-entered the tournament and won it in 2010. Then in 2011, it was Cricket Lovers. 2012, it was Stamina for Trinidad. 2013, Tamina and Cricket Lovers of Trinidad was in the finals, and Tamina Cricket Lovers defeat Tamina off the last ball, wanted 4 runs. With the two last people that they were the last person they wicket, and the young lady smashed the ball for 4, and that was it. And last year, Tamina in a shorter format win it for Trinidad again. So.
We have to change this. We have to change this. This is where you come in, Kristen. You're part of a team that has to change this trajectory, that Barbados returns to winning ways. What does it mean to you to not just be a part of the women's team for the UK playing windball, but joining the Barbados team?
Oh, we're really, really excited. We've been over to Barbados a couple of times, but to actually play out there, we're really, really excited to come out. And just to establish that link with Barbados and the West Indies. So we've got loads of softball, windball cricket over here, but to try and develop that link to get the UK girls over to the West Indies to play in this competition, that's the main aim.
You said you have lots of it happening over there. How popular really is it as a sport, windball, softball, cricket as you call it?
So in terms of women's softball, it's never really been around. Up until the last 2 or 3 years, it's just absolutely skyrocketed. We've gone from having 24 teams up to having over 150 teams just in a 2-year period, and a lot of that's down to the structure that we've got primarily in West Yorkshire. And a lot of that down to my good friend Phil Sharples, who has been the driving force behind it. And we've now got, just in West Yorkshire alone, over 1,500 participants playing windball, softball cricket in the women's side. So, yeah, it's gone massive.
What are you, a bowler, batter, fielder? What are you good at?
Well, I predominantly play men's cricket, men's hardball cricket. I would say I'm a bowler who can bat a little bit.
Oh, you play men's cricket?
Yeah, so I've played quite a lot of cricket, really. I've just recently come back from Sri Lanka playing for England in the Masters World Series for indoor cricket. But my background is predominantly playing men's cricket, because when I started playing cricket, there wasn't a lot of female cricket around. So it's just great to see across the world now, not just at our home country and over here. It's just great to see women playing windball, softball, hardball cricket. It's just great to see.
You're so proud, because that's the level of expertise that's coming into this tournament.
Most certainly, I have been in contact with Christian, and they want to have a link between, England want to have a link between West Indies women's team to come over to England, and they'll come to the Caribbean and play for some of the Caribbean teams. So I think I am very excited about it. It brings a lot to the tournament. And her sister is also coming.
Yes.
Alicia is also coming to join the Barbados team. So I want to thank Christian and her sister for taking the opportunity to come into the tournament. And you know, the tournament's open. Any more Bajan teams want to be part of it. The more Bajan teams we got, the better, because we really need to build back Barbados cricket. For 2 years or 3 years, we were struggling to put together a Barbados softball team. You'll believe that we played this tournament and could not find a Barbados team to play in it. So this year we have 2 Barbados teams. We have the Bajan veterans, the older girls, and then we have develop a youth, combined youth team, a developmental team. So I think that Barbados will be represented this year at this year's tournament.
This is good. It's a T6 and a T12 tournament.
Yeah.
So there are 2 winners, basically, in either tournament, or a winner in either tournament. Yeah. It's on Easter weekend, Good Friday through to Easter Monday. Where is it being played?
It's playing at Dash Valley in Mottley. The T6 going to be starting on the Friday. We're going to have 16 teams, a playoff for 8 into semi-finals and then into the finals. The T12 start the Saturday, and these games playing day and night from 9:30 to night, from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. And the T12 will be playing for the Hamilton Lashley Challenge Shield.
Yes.
Mr. Lashley was the founder of this tournament. He was also the coordinator of this tournament. And now he's the tournament advisor. So I was very happy when the committee decided that they would play the Shield in honor of Mr. Lashley. So the teams will be playing for the Hamilton Lashley Challenge Shield.
Very good. This happens on the Easter weekend, right at the Big Able playing field opposite the gas station in Map Hill. You know where that is. It has its own pavilion, and it's really going to be a full day, each day, of cricket. There are 2 games that are going to be played on a day. So you're there from morning till night, practically. Spend the day, enjoy these ladies at the windball tournament. There's a T6 and a T20. Barbados has these 2 outstanding British women as a part of our team. They've traveled the world representing in hardball cricket, not just windball, and so they're excited to be a part of our team as well. But we intend to clinch this title again, eh?
Yeah, and Pearson, on the Saturday, the cricket will done at 6, because we head into the PLA. We have a big back-on-time Caribbean fete, so we want the public to come out and party with our brothers and sisters. So,
Kristen, are you looking forward to that fete?
Yeah, I can't wait. I've experienced the Bajan culture before, and I can't wait to experience it again.
It's going to be fantastic. You're going to have a really good time. Not just playing as a part of the Barbados team, but meeting some of the other players from the other islands as well who will be representing their particular island in this tournament. I wish you well. Your sister, is she older, younger, or are you twin?
She's younger, so there's 8 years between us, so she's my little sister.
You're the master in this arrangement here. Is she also as good as, or has she traveled with you too in tournaments?
She's not travelled as much. She's been injured for quite a while, but we're completely different players. So she's a left-arm spin bowler, whereas I'm a seam bowler. So yeah, quite different.
The big words, a seam bowler. I hope you're as fast as you say you are, indeed, when it comes to bowling.
No.
I wish you well in the tournament, Kristen, and your sister as well. And we're looking forward to your participation in this tournament, indeed.
And so, Kristen, and next year, Kristen, let me know that there's a lot of teams that want to come from England. They already start to work towards coming to next year's tournament. And also, Chris is manager Christian, and he is also working in terms of doing the promotion for these teams to come to Barbados. So next year, we can expect a lot of English teams coming to this tournament.
Even bigger next year. Rodney Simpson, the coordinator of the Regional Women's Windball Cricket Tournament. Kristen Smith, a female cricketer visiting from the UK, part of the Barbados team. She's a seam bowler. It's a big tournament. It's happening on the Easter weekend at the big playing field there in Dash Valley. You cannot miss it. It's going to be spectacular. Thank you so much, both of you, Kristen and Rodney. Wish you all the best, all right? Good. Morning Barbados takes a break. We're coming back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
An hour of inspiration, celebration, soulful praise, and uplifting messages that will refresh your soul and fill your heart with joy. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Quality 100.7 FM radio, bringing you closer to the music, the message, and the ministry. It's your Sunday moment of praise and purpose, where faith meets music. Q Gospel, Sunday at 4 p.m. on Q 100.7 FM.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love Q.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why?
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
My friend, you don't plan to get...
4.5 minutes now past the hour of 7 o'clock. Still to come, we'll be reaching across the waters to our neighbours in Trinidad and Tobago, where Carnival is on, and there's a contingent of calypsonians and performers who are there, engaging and soaking up all of that cultural experience, all to their good, of course. But we want to hear from them as to how that is going as well. So we're looking forward to that exchange with them in just a moment. But last week, we started a discussion with this change maker in Tony Olton. He's really good at what he does. We want to raise not just the vibration on the island to make positive change, person by person, family by family, organization by organization, so that we all benefit. But we also wanted to really do this through a vehicle known as emotional intelligence. And I know oftentimes a lot of you are hearing the term emotional intelligence, and as much as you've heard it several times over, you're still asking yourself, what is it? What is it really, really, really? And how do you actually apply it to what you're doing? How do you practice this thing called emotional intelligence? We know mathematics, we know add 1 and 1 equals 2, we get that. We know that every sentence ends with a full stop, we get that. But what about emotional intelligence? What about that? Tony Olton is laughing at me already. Tony, good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. I still want to recruit you for my team. You are brilliant.
You know my answer, as it happened last time too.
Yes, please. Yes.
So but that's a matter for discussion. You know that. But yes, you know, please. In reality, that's the truth. We hear words, and we think we understand words because we apply it to different experiences and hope that experience is the truest definition of the words. But when we think of emotional intelligence, we become scared because you're asking me to manage how I feel, but I don't even understand how I feel myself sometimes. Talk to me about what emotional intelligence is.
So you don't understand what you feel, and you don't understand how your feelings are really influencing your thinking and your behaving. Yeah? So emotional intelligence really is the ability, as I said last week, to recognize, use, understand, and manage emotions. Why is that important? Emotions are those things that drive, inform, or behaving. You know, scripture says that as a man thinketh in his heart, and the heart is the reference to emotions. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What the heart, someone else says, what the heart wants, the heart gets. That in spite of what you think, in spite of your training, in spite of your technical competence, etc., at the end of the day, the heart always gets what the heart wants, because the heart is the driver.
You know, there's a song by a group called DeBarge that says, the heart is not so smart. Because sometimes, you know, whatever it is that happens within that space called the heart pumps almost selfishly. And so sometimes your emotional intelligence requires you to not be selfish. So how do you use your heart, connect it with the brain, and understand how you control those emotions, knowing the heart is not always that smart?
It is not almost selfish, it is selfish. Our most basic instinct is survival. That is our most fundamental functioning. How do I survive? And so when I'm encountering life, when I'm encountering others, my first thought is about me. And that is true for all of us.
Yes.
Am I safe? Am I loved? Are two basic questions that the heart is always seeking answers for. Am I safe? The brain is always seeking answers for. Am I safe? Am I loved? And am I loved? Well, am I safe is about physical. Am I safe physically? Am I safe emotionally? Am I loved? My ability to build connections. And then the third part of the brain, which is something we're going to talk about in a while, the third part of the brain is, can I learn? What did I learn from the experience that I've had? So yes, it appears that we are functioning from a place of selfishness, but that place of selfishness is fundamentally about our ability to survive, to get past this moment into the next moment.
We're being asked to unlearn a lot of ways that we were taught. Because our pattern of thinking is a consequence, to my mind, of what we've observed, and in some instances what we've also experienced. And so we saw through observation certain reactions, and we figure that must be the reaction. You're asking me now to pause for just a moment in my experience called life and take a look once again at who I am beneath the surface and question myself as to why I'm responding in this way. What would it take, you think, to have that radical change set in so that, you know, this emotional intelligence really comes to the surface? Oftentimes we tend to think it must be some level of disaster or something dreadful for me to stop to take life seriously. but not always is that necessary.
The truth is, Pearson, that most people do not experience life change in the absence of some significant event. Some significant event that alters their perception of themselves and their perception of life. You know, they say that most people, well, not most, but many people find God when they go to prison. You know, you've lived your life, or, you know, you're 35, 40, and then you have this major event that disrupts your life. And then in that space, you find God. So let me drop this in you, or for you. 50% of how you present today as an adult was in place by the time you were 2 years old.
Wow.
50.
Wow.
Those first 2 years are known as pure learning years. Your sense of yourself, your sense of your place in the world, your sense of how you get your needs met, your sense of how you engage life. 50% of that is in place by the time you are 2 years old. 85% of your sense of yourself as an adult, age 25, age 35, 55, 65, 85% of that sense of yourself was in place by the time you were 7 years old. That is why you go home and you tell your partner, or you tell one of your friends, I seem to work with all children. In a way you do.
Sorry.
Because the mindset,
yes,
the term we use is that map, that model, those patterns, those habits that are in your head were established a long, long time. They were established without your awareness. They were established without your approval. So when I meet you and you tell me, well, you know me, I go, ouch. It means that I'm engaging a person who has not yet gotten to a place of understanding that the way that I am today was formed without my awareness and without my approval. Then ask themselves the question, am I satisfied? Am I happy with this person who is now showing up? Or do I need to think, feel, and do differently so that I can express and experience myself differently?
And I'm glad you went on to say in that way, because if I stopped at the information you gave, which was 50% of who I am was formed within my first 2 years, I could simply throw my hands in your sense, well, you know me, and leave it at that.
It's my mother's fault. It's my father's fault.
It's somebody else's fault.
And the first wife or somebody is responsible for who I am today.
I am. But if you look at life, and we see that as life goes, we make adjustments to things. We adjust the furniture, we adjust the amount of ratio of whatever we use in our cooking. We do things because we always are seeking to do better. We want to create that environment that makes us feel better. The same can happen with our character. The same can happen with our emotional intelligence. And that's what we're talking about here. So I don't want people who are watching to think you have been so formed and that is the end of it. You can still do something about it, even at the 65 years that you mentioned, at whatever stage in your life, there is something you can do. But help us understand, though, the science of our emotions, because, you know, we react, and that's it.
Yes. So to understand the science of our emotions, think of the brain as having 3 parts. So the brain is one brain, but think about it as having 3 parts. So there's what we call the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is that part of our brain that regulates our heartbeat, the flow of our blood, our breathing. When we get a cut, there's healing. All of that functioning takes place out of our reptilian brain. Our reptilian brain is our survival brain. Like I said, it works without our conscious awareness. The third part of our brain is our limbic, or our emotional brain. Our emotional brain is that brain that allows for the relationship we have with ourselves and the relationship that we have with others. It is part of a brain that allows for connections. Here's the challenge. Too many of us have grown up and experienced lives in ways that make us go inward, retreat into ourselves, because life has been harsh.
Yes.
So there's a natural instinct within us to want to connect. That's the am I loved part of the function and thinking of the brain. There's that part of us that wants to connect. But when we've been damaged, when we've experienced the traumas of our lives, something happens in the emotional brain. There's a part within the emotional brain known as the amygdala. It is actually, we're told, the size of an almond seed and the shape of an almond seed. It's called the amygdala. The amygdala stores our memories and the emotions around our memories. It is where you will say something to someone pretty innocuous as far as you're concerned. But then the person mounts a response and you can't understand why would the person respond that way, because the thing you said or the thing you did, as innocuous as it appeared to you, triggered something inside that amygdala. And as you said just now, out popped the response or the reaction. Yeah? The third part of the brain, if we call the neocortex, or that is the thinking brain. That is the part of the brain that allows us to reason, to make conscious, strategic decisions about our lives. You see, but where the emotional brain dominates because of the pain we've experienced in life, because of the neglect, because of the abuse, because of the disappointments of our lives, where that dominates, then our thinking brain doesn't get a chance to work on our behalf. And that is what it means to be emotionally intelligent. To be emotionally intelligent means that I have created time and space that when stuff happens, Canon Jones, when I was a boy at school, talked about the vicissitudes of life or the curveballs. When life throws us the curveballs, am I aware enough to notice what has happened and create space and time to allow my emotional brain and my thinking brain to interact, to have conversation? Do I notice the emotion? Do I try to understand what is driving that emotion, where it's coming from? Do I ask myself, what options do I have? That's where my thinking brain is now at work on my behalf. Do I ask myself, what do I want? Because the thinking brain, one of the things about the emotional brain is the emotional brain is locked in the past. The thinking brain is what allows me to contemplate the future. So that when I have to make a decision about how I am going to respond, that response is a function of, or one of the functions of, what do I want in the future?
Right.
If I only always exist on the basis of my emotional brain, that part of my brain that functions out of an emotional state, then chances are what I'm going to do is repeat a behavior out of my past, out of yesterday, out of age 2, out of age 4, out of age 6, out of age 7.
Right. So how do I begin? I'll use the word surgery because I want to get this amygdala that's stuck in my past. How do I begin the surgery of eradicating that or transforming that into something positive? I know that you've encouraged us over time, and part of what you're offering to Barbados is the ability for us to be able to journal. So let's talk a little bit about the value of writing down rather than just trying to process in that same space the brain, hoping that you get it right.
So the writing down is part of that pausing. The writing down is part of that reflecting, thinking about, thinking, using my thinking brain. So by writing, I am making note of what I observe. And in writing, I'm giving myself the opportunity to think about the experience that I've had. In writing, I can contemplate, what's the lesson? What is it that life is trying to teach me? Where are the patterns? Have I picked up that there's a pattern in this? When I have this experience, this tends to my response. How is that working for me? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to do differently? So journaling allows us all of that. It allows us space to pause. It allows us space to reflect. It allows us space to understand our own behaviors, our own patterns. And it allows me space to think about next time?
Yes, yes.
What do we do differently?
But it's an action that requires us to pour out, because it's not just whirling in my head anymore. No, I'm pouring out.
Yes.
And there's in that process, I suppose, there's an emptying of the feeling, and then in thinking it through as I write it out, I'm replacing it with something that is more reasoned rather than reactive. Yes. And so
absolutely.
The journaling is a critical component if you want to make the change. If you want to make the change, you've got to journal. And so as the doctor says to you, you know, if you want to get better, Mr. Boy, you need to get up and exercise every day. If you want to do better, Mr. Boy, you need to, you know, the same process here. If you want to do better emotionally, you've got to journal. Pour it out. Pour it out. Empty yourself and prepare to receive the replacement, which is going to be positive. And so it's an ongoing process, as this conversation with you will be an ongoing series with you, Tony, because time went so quickly. And as the crews were here trying to wrap up, I'm saying, but I'm enjoying this way too much. I'm sitting here in rapt attention. And I'm hoping that people who are watching us and listening feel the same way as well, to want to make the change. And it starts there, wanting to make that change and making the conscious effort to do so starting today. There's no better time than now to effect the change. And so use your now positively, folks. Be emotionally smart about it. Journal how you feel. And if you can share the information with Tony and his team. You know, how can we feed back with you, Tony, in all of this?
So you can connect with us either by WhatsApp. The number is 246-266-2628, 246-266-2628, or you can email us at admin@the Potter Center, one word, the Potter Center, center is RE.com, and we'll be happy to engage.
This is an opportunity not to be missed, folks. It's learning from the man I call the change maker. He is so good. He is really so good. And I'm not smelling his head. It's the truth. It's the truth, you know. But Tony, as always, thank you for engaging once again. I look forward to our next moment of engagement, because we're going to take this journey with you. And I really hope that as time develops, we're honest enough to open up and say, here's what I'm facing. Because that's the only way we're going to get solution, when the doctor in Tony steps in to say, have you considered? And here's what you need to do. Thank you so much, Tony Alton, indeed. All right, Morning Barbados comes right back right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Sure. Okay.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it. Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 16 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. I told you about this cross-cultural exchange that I'm so excited about. That's because in the land of Calypso and Carnival is the House of Soca. Who would have imagined? And we're happy to be joined this morning by the manager herself, is Sharon Carew White, and with her is Sir Royal. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning, Barbados. Greetings from Trinidad.
Thank you so much. Just say like a good Bajan, what you all doing down there?
Boy, let me tell you.
We're really having such a great time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about a learning experience that started from our writing workshop. We would have spoken about it on Morning Barbados last year. And the continuation now is the artist experience. They're getting a chance to rub shoulders with the names, the veterans all rounder at his 80. I don't want to call it wrong. I think he's 83 or he 85, I'd be corrected. Yes, and then there's Crazy, Brian London. We met Gypsy. Oh my gosh, last night was Baron. That hug from Baron was amazing.
The sweet soca man.
Sweet soca.
Wow.
So I won't tell you about it. I'm going to let the Calypsonians tell you about their experience because it's about them. It's not about me.
Right. So who's there?
Yes,
I see Sarul, but who else is there with you?
I can surprise you while I get to somebody else.
All right. I'm going to start with Sarul. Sarul, talk to me a little bit about who you've been engaging with since you've been there so far.
Well, definitely, I had the opportunity to perform about 5 Calypso tents, and the experience has been so amazing. I recognize that people down here, they eat, breathe, and live Calypso, and especially social commentary.
Yes.
And the experience has been rewarding so far. You know, I gained a lot of knowledge about where Calypso came from. And the respect from the audience is just overwhelming. You know.
Wow. I mean, you grew up looking and hearing Trinidadians, Calypsonians perform. Now you're in the space itself. Are you seeing anything that you, Sarul, you think you're going to take away, and that when you come back to Barbados, for sure, in Crop Over 2025, we shall see?
Definitely. Meet me on the stage finals night. Pickety crop. House of
And so far, so good. You're having a good time. Who's that with you?
Doyen.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am awesome. I would say that this experience, especially for the younger Calypsonians, let me say this. From what I've gained, these people sleep, eat, and breathe Calypso, as Sarul said. From the time we land, the atmosphere felt so different. It was just a lot of embracement, encouragement, especially from the veterans. Like we sang at me and Sarul. The first day we landed, we sang the night at 8 o'clock at Classe Rousseau. Among you, all of us had encores. They called us. So I mean, if you're in a land that created this thing, people that eat, breathe, and sleep, and you can impress the Trinidadians,
yes.
I know for a fact we're not doing anything wrong. So from here, it's not even to say, oh, it's all about having a crown. The mere fact that we could be here and experience this, right? Anything that we thought we lacked last year that we could improve next time coming, let me tell you something. We've already won. It doesn't matter. The crown will have to be a plus for us.
I love it. I love it, Doyen. You are so confident and so right. And so being there to experience all of that, look at how it's already transformed your approach.
Yes, and I know for a fact this year, my transformation on stage is going to be so different because the females are so dynamic in Trinidad. Yeah. As much as there are males, the females are so dynamic. And I know for a fact that has boosted my confidence. And I feel extremely positive. I'm totally ready for the season. I just want to embrace what I have. I just want to improve my craft and just work on being a better Calypsonian than anything else. I'm a queen. I had a crown in 2009. I'm going to be a queen forever. It doesn't matter, but it's just a matter of me now making that better and embracing what I have and my talent.
I am so ready for you, Doyen. I'm so ready for you, girl. Let me tell you, those are big words you dropped, so I'm ready for you as well. You're joined by Yannick Hooper. Yannick, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm here to represent the soca. You know, House of Soca is so multifaceted. You know, we have Calypsonians down here. I'm here to represent the soca along with Joss Ox. It's been fantastic. Every day we have maybe like 2 radio interviews planned. Wow. Performances, you know, it's just about taking the leap. And, you know, we believe in Barbados and we believe that we have something that could be appreciated by the world. And the feedback from Trinidad, you know, towards us has been fantastic so far.
What have you learned about you and your performance style by being there?
Boy, it's very interesting thing that you said that question, because I was very lucky as a teenager to come to Trinidad, and I basically saw, the energy they put into their performances and the shows and the stage presence, and that actually influenced my artistry a lot. So coming back here, it reminded me, where that inspiration came from, and it's so good, to be here with House of Soca now to spread my artistry to the world.
I love that. So spread your artistry and spread because those stages are vast, big stages.
100%.
And so there's a little Yannick Cooper, because you're not big, and so there you are, and you're performing. Can you see yourself performing on that huge long stage before thousands of people?
100%. I've done it many times. I'm very fortunate to have traveled the world to do places like Switzerland, London, Germany, but Trinidad was the missing piece. So I'm so happy, to have this opportunity through House of Soca to come and blaze. And I might be little, but the song's big.
I like that. You're so right on that score. Big man. Writing, though, because you also write. Talk to me a little bit about what you've absorbed so far about writing. And writing in such a way that it's outstanding.
100% is everything. I think that in our music, it's so important that we put the culture and what we see into songs, because at the end of the day, you want to put out music that people can relate to. And maneuvering in Carnival, we see in so many moments of love, so many moments of unity, togetherness. So that has inspired me, and my contributions for Crop Over coming up can be full with that.
Well done. So you're now joined by Josh Ox, big old tall Josh Ox. Josh, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you for asking. And you're in Trinidad. I mean, is this your first trip to Trinidad?
Yeah, it's my first trip.
So talk to me about what it meant for you to have your feet on the land of Calypso.
Honestly, from the time that I touched through the airport, it was just a different atmosphere and everything. I think that the air is even different in Trinidad. Honestly, it's just filled with excitement and energy from the time you touched the airport.
No. You came out. I mean, when you started, you came out with a big hit. Immediately, everybody knew who Josh Ox is. And so so much so I can look at you and say, that's Josh Ox. And so being there, what have you learned about not just presenting your songs, but marketing yourself, imaging and that kind of thing as you observe the others?
I've learned that presenting myself in a way is very important. You always have to conduct yourself properly. You never know who's watching. We've met a lot of great Calypsonians, had a chance to interact, have conversations with many people, like all around there. We met for the classic Whistle competition. It was very welcoming. He told me how to better my craft in terms of soca and calypso. Brian London, he's also been a very
nice.
Yeah.
You're really rubbing shoulders, man. Brian London, that's a big name. Well done to you, Josh. I mean, there's a lot I'm sure you'll take away that you'll bring back to Barbados that will enhance your performance at the House of Soca this season coming this year, right?
Of course.
Of course, he says. I like the strength. Marsha, how are you?
I'm great, Pearson, and how are you?
I am doing well. Good to see you again. And look, I had to see you in Trinidad of all places. So talk to me about being there and as a part of the team of House of Soca, what it means to you to engage in this way in this season.
As everybody said, it's a fulfilling experience. It's not my first time for Carnival, but it's my first time coming to do Calypso. So, I mean, House of Soca had the vision. It's not only about bringing a soca artist that is the usual attention. We wanted to bring Calypso, Kaiso to the Mecca. And it's the only way that you can make it better. You rub shoulders, you network with the great ones. So naturally, we had to bring the backups. So we didn't leave the backups out because they don't leave the backups out.
I mean, y'all are singers too.
Yes, we are in our own right. So I am here as the complete circle.
Yes,
Ian and we made the trip, and it's also for us because, as I would like to say, I am an elder, but in House of Soca being there for 25 plus years now, I become an elder by default. So it's always a matter of growing and being able to impart the knowledge and growing next to the young ones and nurturing that energy and that knowledge so that we can only get better.
Talk to me about some of the things that you, Marcia, have been able to do while there, and the number of people who you've had conversations with to pull from them what you want to take away.
I didn't know you want me to start because we talk to real people. But our first interaction, naturally, we went to the Cupid.
That was a big event.
Yes. And I mean, one thing I must say, Pearson, that did it for us. I didn't have to do anything else here because when we got there were children from nursery right up to secondary school, and they were being schooled on culture and carnival and the importance of telling your parents that you want to play mass and why you should sing calypso because it's the mother of soca. And I mean, this is natural. These children were just sitting down and sucking in all this knowledge and the energy, as they say, and the vibe. And then they had Farmer Nappy, he performed, and then they had Maximus Dan. So we were able to be a part of this scene where we should be going in Barbados. And then if that wasn't enough, as they said, we performed at Classic Russo. And we rubbed shoulders. I mean, you always hear about all around there, but what was beautiful about that tent is that the embrace, as they said, but this is a tent where you see the growth from a dad that has passed on this art form to his children, and they spread it with the world. And the way that he was embraced, I mean, the audience just lapped up the queso.
Wow.
And we're hoping that we in Barbados could get to that point where we eat it, we breathe it, we love it. I mean, nobody had to be in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It was the March Gras, and everybody was on their A game. We passed on, we moved on to the other tent, which was Kaiso.
Yes.
And then we were invited, and we're going to Dynasty tomorrow night.
Nice.
And tonight we're going to the Crow tent as well. So I mean, it was nice seeing Barra last night. I would have done backups for him with the Soca Goes Gold. So he actually remembered me. He's like, oh, beige, my backup. Because they don't see us as just background vocalists. They see us as a complete to their art, to their product.
Wow.
And I mean, the list can go on and on. Today we're going to the producer. We're going up south, down south. So we're doing a lot. And of course, he had to join a party. I've been to QRC. And
everywhere, Marcia. You have me so jealous right now. I am angry with you. But that's all
Last night was the tempo competition semifinals, and that was beautiful. I mean, and the freestyling.
Yes.
Everything here is of good quality, top class, and everyone brings their A game.
Nice.
And a lot of more, we set the trend, House of Soca, but more on the serious note need to come to Trinidad to embrace and to see. I mean, as we said, this is the Mecca. This is where it came from. And if you could come and learn something, you're never too good. You never arrive. So you should also come and unlearn and relearn and redo. You know, if it's not working one way, or if it's working, there's always a way that you can enhance yourself. And we need to take our culture, and you gotta give big ups to this lady.
I'm coming to her. Coming to her. Not just the manager of House of Soca. It's almost like the doctor of Soca in Barbados, like Calypso.
She's the doctor. I know you want to patients or something.
Yes. So Sharon, when does the trip end? When does it end?
Where does it end?
When are you guys coming home?
The 24th.
Oh, you got time.
Yes,
you got time.
24th. Just started.
Listen,
Get started.
There is a set of radio stations under the Garden Media Limited brand. There's a Barbadian working there. Ask for DJ Timeless.
Yes.
Y'all went there?
Yes, he's reached out to us, yes.
All right. Nonetheless, I am so happy that all of you have had this experience, that you can come back and talk the way you're talking and sharing the way that you're sharing as well. I want a report on your return, a full report, Sharon, from you and your crew. So you promised me you're coming to Mornin Barbados. Pardon me?
It's actually going to be documented by On Brand. So all of our footage we send back to them, and they're going to edit it, and it's going to be documented. We're hoping to have it in time for CARIFesta.
All right. Well done.
Mr. DJ is here, but he's so busy. He's on another with TV 6 at the moment, so he couldn't come to talk to us. So he's not in the Barbadian public, but letting you know, even we're representing the disability, the disabled community right here in Trinidad. And big up Salego and his crew as well, because I mean, nothing is limited here when it's culture.
I love it. I gotta go though. I have to limit you now though. Thank you so much. All the best, and continue enjoying yourselves there. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you to the House of Soca in Trinidad and Tobago. As I told you, I got to go look at the time. I couldn't believe it's gone so quickly. But thank you all for keeping company. Remember to tell someone about this. This is just too good to keep to yourself. Our little crew says thank you as well. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.